Ashley Gloss and Marie-Pierre Malo. As the Go-Go with first possession here, they got the win on Sunday afternoon. A big one. 113 points, the most they've scored this season. Here's Todd in the corner, and he knocks it down. Great way to start the game.
And that's one of the guys right there in the same spot that he was clicking from last game. Look at Isaiah Todd. That ability to stretch the defense out a little bit as a forward, very valuable.
A 113-103 win after trailing majority of the game.
And a lot of that offense, Megan, generated in transition where Coach Michael Williams wants to see them take advantage.
Johnson gets it into Tillman down low. And an early 3-2 lead. Echenique down low. Up and under.
And an excellent move right there. You know I love those big men throwing the jump hooks down there, Megan. Great footwork right there by Echenique.
Go-Go now with a 5-2 lead here early on. Cooper. Tillman gets it back to him, 8 on the shot clock. Cooper attacking. Has Echenique on him. Kicks it. Ellison, 1 second. Cooper has to let it fly. It hits rim, but controlled by Todd.
Good defensive sequence right there by the Go-Go.
Shackle down low, Echenique. And lost the handle. Another key, Tony, I don't know if you'd agree, but Sunday afternoon, foul trouble really plagued the Go-Go, especially the starting 5. We expect that they've taken care of this tonight.
Yeah, and one key to that is you got to move your feet a little bit better and not put yourself in a position to allow the referees to call some of the calls that they were making that last game. And that's certainly how you can do it right there. Good block shot right there by Isaiah Todd.
And Echenique. Here's Goodwin. Echenique the 3.
One of the first threes I've seen Echenique take this year.
Ellison attacking and goes 2 hands strong.
And Ellison looking like his daddy right there, stunting like his daddy on the dunk.
5-4 lead here for the Go-Go. Ayayi attacking, high off glass.
And that's some familiar moves right there we've seen from Ayayi. He was the guy who was able to get into the paint last game, really taking advantage of SkyHawks defense.
Tillman down low, and they're going to get Todd with the foul.
We saw the bigs last game, and Isaiah Todd and Echenique and Greg Monroe really play a significant part of the defense as far as locking things down in the perimeter and rim protection.
Tillman gets the 1 for 2. Ayayi works off Echenique. In the paint, probes, gets his own miss, has it from behind, and Cooper controls. That 3 does not fall for Watson. Ayayi can't connect. Todd, offensive rebound, takes it right back, 2-hand flush.
And that's something we know Isaiah Todd can do. Get you offensive rebound and finish strong.
3-point lead now for the Go-Go, 9-6, 8:13 to play. Cooper. Echenique came to help. Tillman, little floater, doesn't go. Ellison trying to fly in there. He gets the tip.
Seeing the athleticism right there from Ellison. Last couple of plays.
Turnover. Cooper. Too strong on the lay-in. Todd controls, loose ball, controlled now by Ayayi. A 9-8 lead inside Todd. Goodwin rises. Shackle gets the offensive rebound as he takes it away from Tillman to a Yayi.
That's a great hustle play right there by Shackle. Stripping the big man right there and giving it to his teammate for an easy layup.
11-8 go-go lead. Off the double screen, Cooper. Back to Johnson. Six on the shot clock, Watson. In and out. Todd with the board. Goodwin. Todd attacking, kicks, Shackle in the corner. Echenike, good timing, goes over the defense.
Great offensive rebounding. Great step-through move right there for Echenike.
And you know, Tony, I just realized that I named off 6 starters.
And one guy that gave them a problem just checked into the game in Cat Barber. So we'll see if you have to start calling his name again, Megan.
Yeah, talk about a problem. 35 points on 12 of 21 shooting as he gets it down low to Hamilton for the flush. 3 of 6 from beyond the arc, 7 assists, 4 rebounds in 31 minutes, but that was off the bench.
Yeah.
For the SkyHawks.
Yeah, so let's hope that there's not a repeat performance.
And that's part of the pick and roll defense that Coach Williams talked to us about.
Absolutely.
Here's a Yayi. Same 5 starters on the floor for the go-go. Echenike does not get the hook. And Johnson controls. To the corner, Watson. He fires. Doesn't connect. Rebounded by Echenike.
That's the other thing that Go-Go did well the last game, was not giving up second chance opportunities to the SkyHawks.
Todd kicks, Goodwin. Count it.
And good ball movement right there, a little inside out action. Isaiah Todd, the Goodwin.
And the Go-Go control the boards. 52.2% is their rebounding percentage. Through the last 7 games, they're 5th in the G League. So it shows, to your point, of limiting the second chance opportunities on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, that most certainly plays a role when you talk about getting down the 4th quarter and you haven't really given up any easy baskets.
Off the inbound, Barber has it taken away by a Yayi, but unfortunately goes out of bounds. Greg Monroe, Cassius Winston will check in.
And Greg Monroe had an exceptional game. Was really good in the pick and roll scenarios and sets a really solid screen. So look for his teammates to really be looking to get him involved.
Watson turns it over. Goodwin up the floor. Winston. Too strong. Watson controls to Barber. Off the screen from Hamilton. Pull-up jumper does not fall. Shackle with the rebound. Goodwin. Handoff from Monroe.
Goodwin able to take his time there and reload on that shot. Getting his feet set. Knocked it down.
19-10 lead for the Go-Go. 4:22 to play in the opening quarter. Ellison attacking. And on the rebound, a whistle and a foul. And they're going to give that to Monroe. So Tillman will head to the line for the 1 for 2. And if you're just joining us again, we apologize. We're experiencing some technical difficulties tonight, so I will try and give you the score as much and as quickly as possible, along with the time. And if anything is to happen down the road, Tony and I will walk you through it.
We got your back.
A 19-12 lead now after the free throw. Shackle. Goodwin. Now to Todd in the corner. Does not fall. Up the floor, Ellison. Up and under the hoop. Quickly up the floor is Goodwin.
And that's taking advantage in transition right there. Coach Michael Williams loves that.
Under 4 minutes. Hamilton. His jumper doesn't go. Monroe with the rebound. Goodwin in transition. Too strong. Cuts off Barber. Barber. Hamilton down low, and he lost the handle. Sharif Cooper will return. Craig Sword.
Seen a couple of solid defensive possessions by the Go-Go that have resulted in some fast break points and turnovers.
So Pat Spencer checks in, and Craig Sword will have to wait. Monroe, the low dribble. Has Hamilton in the post, gets him in the air, spins back to the left.
And that's a good move right there. Just bully ball on the block right there. Biggest guy on the court, taking advantage down low.
Hamilton in the paint, misses. A late whistle. Monroe backing down Tillman, lost the handle, too strong on the bounce.
See Greg Monroe making an effort to take advantage of his size.
That jumper from Lawson doesn't go. Monroe with the rebound. Spencer. Monroe in the paint, has a block from Hamilton. Spencer with it. 10 on the shot clock, around the horn. Monroe.
Yes.
Goes right back at Hamilton, spins, too strong, but will go to the free throw line.
I was thinking Monroe was going to take that shot right there because he's more than capable of knocking that down, but chooses to take it to the basket, draws some contact, and gets an opportunity at the line. So still works out.
So he'll have a 1 for 2. Extends the lead. Shannon Bogues into the game for the Go-Go as well. Here's Cooper. Cooper still with it, 12 on the shot clock. Tipped out of bounds, it will stay with the SkyHawks. Jalen Johnson returns. Cooper, Johnson attacking, 4 on the shot clock. Tillman, floater doesn't go. Sword with the rebound. Winston. Sword attacks, spins, lays it in.
And Sword right there showing some good balance. Looked a little off balance there going to the hole and was able to convert nonetheless.
Barber attacking, has it blocked from Sword. Spencer with the rebound, up the floor. Winston, too strong. Monroe fighting for it. Tillman controls. Lawson is fouled. They will wave off the dunk. Lawson gets the 1 for 2. Winston attacking baseline. Tipped. Spencer now with it, 10 on the shot clock. Spencer has it poked from behind by Lawson, and then he picks up the foul. Unfortunately, Gogo in the penalty, so that will send the SkyHawks and Tillman back to the free throw line.
We're just hoping that the fouls don't start to add up too quickly here.
Tillman gets the 1 for 2. He had 14 points on Sunday afternoon, along with 9 rebounds. He was 5 of 10 from the floor. On the shot clock. Winston still with it. Works off Monroe. Attacking.
Cassius Winston showing his ability right there to score the basketballs, not just shooting threes. He did an exceptional job of that the last game, going 4 of 6.
Cooper taken away by Monroe. Spencer at the end of the quarter.
On both ends, when you look at the way they've played, I've been really impressed with the energy.
They don't have that turkey coma still lingering.
No, they shook it off.
Backdoor cut from Lawson as he lost the handle. It goes out of bounds, so a turnover from the SkyHawks to start the second. Winston tries to wrap it around to Monroe. The length of the SkyHawks takes it away, but the Go-Go get it right back. Two-hand flush from Monroe.
And again, the activity on the defensive end forcing those turnovers.
Spencer trying to cause the turnover.
That's what I'm talking about when I say activity, the hand movement in the passing lanes and guys just really pressing up on their man, really making it not an easy task to dribble the ball in front of these guys right now.
Here's Spencer. Works with Monroe, attacks. And tipped out of bounds. It will stay with the Go-Go. He'll have 11 on the shot clock. Winston. Floater drops.
Cash is showing you a little bit of everything right now. Nice little floater in the lane.
Ellison. And a whistle and a foul. They're going to get Sword. And UC Uregbu checks in. Johnson the three.
Big fella showing some range right there. Johnson stepping out from deep.
Bogues works off Monroe, comes back to him. Monroe down the paint.
And that's what we know Greg Monroe is really good at, it, setting those screens and rolling to the basket.
Lawson the three, that's short. Spencer with the rebound. Up the floor, Winston. Works off Monroe. Attacking, gets into the paint, flips that up and in.
Great finish right there with the left hand. Cassius Winston slashing to the basket. Opportunity for the N1.
Malik Ellison picks up the foul, excuse me. Watson returns along with Tillman. (41-23) lead here in the second quarter. Barber working off Tillman, attacking, probing, pull-up jumper, doesn't fall. Tillman put back, doesn't go. Winston quickly the other way. Monroe, the backdoor cut to Spencer, and it's hit out of bounds. It will stay with Capital City.
Seeing some pretty good ball movement right there from the go-go out of transition.
Go-Go currently on a 14-3 run going back to the first quarter. Here's Spencer, 10 on the shot clock, inside to Monroe. Goes between the defense, keeps it, left it short. Ellison back the other way, cut off by Sword. Iregbu. Tillman, the floater. Monroe down low to Spencer for the land.
Seeing some solid ball movement right there. Spencer sneaking in.
Iregbu in the corner, he connects.
It's one of the cleaner, easier looks we've seen in that possession. The Go-Go have not made it easy for the SkyHawks today on the defensive end.
Winston floater, in and out.
You know, to give you an idea of how good the defense has been for the Go-Go first half of this game, Megan, that wide open shot there looked a little odd because we haven't really seen them get any wide open shots. The Go-Go have done a pretty good job contesting all game long.
That is very true. That might have been the most open shot we've seen going back to Todd's opening three to start the game.
Exactly. Making them work for everything.
Iregbu. Watson saves it, but turns it over at the same time. Sword by himself. In transition, lost the handle, was Ayayi. Watson back the other way. Ellison blocked from Echenike, but a foul.
Echenike with a hard foul.
So just his second. Go-Go doing a better job than yesterday with foul trouble.
They're doing a better job of defending without fouling. They're doing a great job of not giving up any second chance opportunities. And not only are they not giving them up, but they're taking advantage in transition when they're turning them over with that active defense. So it's reflected on the scoreboard right now.
Ayayi working with Echenike. They get it down low to him. Too tight for a bounce pass. Taken away. Watson left alone. Doesn't go. Tillman fighting with Echenike, but it ends up with Ellison. He misses, sends Bogues the other way. They've got a 4-on-3, or 5-on-3, excuse me, as they both get back. Echenike to Ayayi.
And that's a great feed to the post and a cutter as Echenike hits him. Ayayi right there. Just good movement on the offensive end, starting with feeding the bigs.
Barber. Attacking Bogues. Tillman lays it in.
You see the offense mostly created by drives and drop-offs, plain and simple.
Todd and Goodwin back into the game for the Go-Go. Here's Todd backing down Ellison. Turns, fades off 1 foot, too strong.
And that's one of the big differences we've seen. We don't see a lot of post-ups from the SkyHawks, but we certainly see the Go-Go taking advantage.
Ellison, 5 on the shot clock, gets it to Tillman as he drops it in.
Again, another drive and drop-off. That's really been their offense the entire game.
Aside from 1 or 2 threes, not too much from the perimeter.
Not much at all.
Ayayi. His pass to Echenike poked out of bounds. It stays, though, with the Go-Go.
You look at basketball in general, you're seeing less and less post play because you're seeing less and less post players. But to me, Echenike and Greg Monroe right now are showing you the advantage that you have when you at least have that option to go into big guys and initiate some offense from the post or just post up a big to take advantage of a mismatch.
Echenike had to put that up as shot clock was winding down, does not fall. Barber quickly to Ellison. He connects from 3.
We've seen Ellison with some strong finishes, showing us a little bit of range right there.
SkyHawks chipping away at this lead. And a foul on irregular. A 12-4 SkyHawks run, which is why they have chipped away at this lead, now only trailing by 8. There's Goodwin, 4 seconds on the shot clock, recognizes, lets it fly into the hands of Ayayi, and they're gonna get a shot clock violation.
The only one I think we've seen today, outside of that violation right there, we've seen some pretty good offense from the Go-Go.
The last couple of possessions, somewhat stagnant, would you say?
Yeah, I would say that. Not as definitive as we saw in the first quarter.
Watson. Ten on the shot clock. Watson attacking, lays it up, doesn't go. And they will say Go-Go basketball.
See if the Go-Go can get something going here. A little reminiscent to what they were doing earlier.
Goodwin to Todd, quick 3. Too strong, off back rim, but Goodwin gets the offensive board. They want to go to Echenike and do. Backing down on Tillman, his hook shot goes.
And that's a great move right there from Echenike. He obviously likes to set up, shooting over that left shoulder. Money shot.
Barber cut off and met by Echenike. Ellison attacks. Another drop off to Tillman.
I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Goodwin. Ayayi. Shackle in the corner. Goodwin off the pump fake, has it blocked from behind, saved by Barber into the hands of Todd as he slams it home.
Roll down. Isaiah Todd with a strong drive to the middle. That's a high percentage shot.
Awareness that he didn't run back on defense after that turnover. And Barber will head to the free throw line, and compared to Sunday afternoon, Cat Barber thus far, at least at the 3:43 mark of the second quarter.
Yep.
I'm noting that because we've seen what he can do. He has been held in check.
Yes. He's also, we have also seen him do in this very arena, drop more than 20 and a half.
That's also true.
So we have to play another half, so I'm still a little bit concerned about him.
That free throw, his first 2 points of the ballgame. He does have 5 assists, but he hasn't been able to get to the cup as easily as he was able to in the first half on Sunday afternoon.
No, not even close.
That 3 off the mark. Here's Iregbu. His 3 doesn't fall. Ayayi with the rebound. The Go-Go pushing. Shackle off the pump fake. Ayayi. Echenike. Backing down. Turns. Up. Under. Lay-in.
Echenike with some good footwork right there. Up and under. Showing how effective he can be just playing on the ball.
In a couple of days between these two teams, they played Sunday afternoon, back here now Tuesday night. I like these little mini series. Both the NBA and the G League doing it.
It's not only is it smart, it's really entertaining.
Barber, that ball hit every part of the rim.
Every part of the rim, and ladies and gentlemen, that is not a good sign.
Good win. Echenike backing down Johnson this time as he throws
With
it
the
down.
back down and the throw down. Echenike.
Ellison, the three, he connects.
Ellison's getting it going right now. His mother was a track star at the University of Maryland, so he's got great athletic genes on both sides.
Backside with you, Jam. Backside,
Echenike again. Goes off, Johnson lays it in.
And I don't know if it's Echenike or Elijah right now, because he's looking dreamlike on the box with the moves.
Johnson attacking, has it blocked, but they will call a foul. They're going to say Todd got him on the side of the head.
The go-go right now just understanding where the mismatch is, and it's definitely on the box with Echenike. He's just destroying the front line of the SkyHawks right now with a variety of moves. That last one was very impressive.
He's got 8 points in the last 3 minutes, does Jaime Echenike. This time he's gonna try it on the other side. Off the pump fake.
Seeing a little double team right there, and he's actually went baseline, which was the right move.
They call it on Jalen Johnson.
You know, after you drop 8 straight on the box, that's when the defense changes.
You might get a little bit more attention.
There's no question about it. You see him right now doubling off the top.
Goodwin attacks off the pump fake, goes to Todd. His hook is blocked by Johnson. Barber the other way, up the floor quickly, Cooper. Ellison back into the corner, Cooper. Ayayi controls. Under 1 minute to go now in the half. Goodwin. Echenike. Turns, faces, doesn't get that one. .5 to play now in the half. Cooper. Johnson. That seems to be their wheelhouse in that corner.
That's just kind of what it's been all day. We haven't seen much variation off of that.
Ayayi working off Echenike. Goodwin. Off the mark. Ellison with the rebound. They can play for final shot of the half. That's the ball in the hands of Cat Barber. 4 seconds, attacking. Barber lays it in. 1.6. Ayayi to Todd. Ayayi shackled Todd and Echenike for the go-go. A 1-point game here. Cooper. Watson, 5 on the shot clock. Here's Johnson. Turns, faces, shoots, does not
like, hey.
The Go-Go that second quarter, Tony, when the SkyHawks were making their run and chipping away at the deficit, the offense became a little stagnant.
Yeah, and that's where we saw them able to, like as you just said, chip away at it a little bit because the Go-Go's offense wasn't flowing the same as it did in that first quarter.
That jumper from Goodwin does not fall. Tillman down low has it blocked from Todd.
And that's what we've seen the SkyHawks looking for all day, just drives and drop-offs to whoever steps up off the box.
Inbound from the corner. Cooper. Tillman, 6 on the shot clock to Johnson. His 3 off the mark. Echenique with the rebound. Up the floor, the Go-Go have a 5-on-4. Goodwin. Todd in the corner. Doesn't fall. Echenique is going to be whistled for an over the back. And Tony, as a big man, just because you're taller and bigger, does it always mean it's a foul?
No, especially when you can just reach right over the top of the guy and take the ball away from him. So I'm a little, I take those fouls a little personal right there. Brings back some bad memories.
Cooper attacking, a whistle and a foul.
And you actually saw Jaime actually put his hand down like like LeBron does sometimes when the guy's too small.
Right.
He kind of did that hand symbol to the referee, like, hey, it wasn't a foul. He's just,
right.
He's a little guy.
I'm bigger than him.
Right.
That's not my fault.
Right.
And he made sure, too, to go straight up with his hands as to not give the illusion that he was pushing in the back.
Exactly. He literally reached over top of the other guy.
Ayayi to Echenique off the pump fake. Gets around the defense. Misses, gets his own.
Credit to Nietzsche with the ball fake right there to really set up that drive.
Watson. Cooper now with it. Cooper. Help comes from Echenique. Ellison down the paint. A whistle. Is that before? They're going to count the bucket.
Another strong finish we've seen by Ellison, slashing to the basket.
And that is the 4th on Todd. He's really the only one in foul trouble. Echenique does have 3, but it's halfway to 6.
Well, let's just hope it doesn't become contagious.
Echenique drops it off to Ayayi, a whistle and a foul. Sharif Cooper called for the hold. So Craig Sword comes in. Isaiah Todd goes out with those 4 fouls. Shackle. Curl.
You know that's a part of his game right there. Catch and shoot.
Cooper. Johnson attacking. Has it stripped. Loose ball. Ayayi with it.
Seeing those active hands again right there.
Ayayi is fouled. So Joel Ayayi will head to the free throw line.
I said this earlier, Ayayi seems to be one of those guys that always, even as a guard, finds himself in the painted area and creates contact. Consistently gets to the line.
This is the 1 for 2. The loose ball foul will stay with the Go-Go. They call it on Tillman. So the Go-Go inbound on the sideline. Ayayi back to Goodwin. Gets the three.
That's a good shot right there. Goodwin had time to step right into that. Knock it down.
Cooper works off Johnson. Off the steal, Goodwin lays it up and in.
Quarter in the first half a little flat, so seen it pay off on both ends right now with the increase in the energy.
Coach Gansey out of the timeout with Cat Barber in the game. 4 on the shot clock. Barber attacking kicks. Johnson 3.
You know Johnson's comfortable with that shot.
And he did not play Sunday in the matchup. Goodwin attacking. Sword in the corner. Off the mark. Barber. Probing. Kicks. Ellison. And an offensive foul called. Echenike there to take it.
And that's flashes of the last game where we saw Echenike step up and take a charge there, and he does it again tonight, covering for his teammates. What you love to see from your big guys, in addition to rim protection.
A.J. Lawson checks in for the SkyHawks. Sword. There's a travel called. Coach Williams not happy with that call. I can understand, because the play prior to it, the whistle wasn't called on the travel.
Right.
And it's the exact same play. Echenike with a block.
Again, we're talking about Echenike. We just saw him step up on the charge, and here he steps up on the block, making his presence felt.
Johnson, Barber, off the inbound. 10 on the shot clock. Barber. 4 seconds. 2 seconds. Barber got that to fall. Ayayi defending well.
Good defense there, and you got to work that hard for a shot. You're okay with that as a defender.
Ayayi answers.
We haven't seen a lot of that from Ayayi, but certainly showing us that he can do it.
Barber attacking again. Tries to go to Ellison, and they will say SkyHawks basketball. Off the inbound, Goodwin looks like he is grimacing a little bit. Echenike lost the handle. Lawson up the floor. Johnson is fouled, does not get the lay-in, but he will head to the free throw line, and they will give that to Shackle.
See Goodwin grimacing a little bit there, hopping around. You don't want to see that. He's 3 for 6 from the 3 right now, just starting to get going.
Cassius Winston returns. Well, checks in for the first time this half, excuse me, but Goodwin goes out, and you can see as he was going to the bench, he was wincing just a bit. You see him walking back to the players' tunnel. The 1 for 2 is good, but they called it a common foul. So far, Tony, we're 1 for 1 in reviews right now.
There you go. Technology works for you sometimes.
Echenike challenging as Ellison is fouled.
Ellison takes a hard fall there.
And you know what? I'm with Jaime on this. He had the rule of verticality in his favor.
He's actually asking for a review because he's saying that he did go up straight.
One shot, guys. One white.
Well, at least the referees are not questioning whether or not it's a
Malicious?
flagrant. Yes. So.
Mike Williams electing not to challenge.
I think wisely so. You never know, that may be very valuable somewhere in the fourth quarter.
Echenike picking up his 4th foul, so that brings Greg Monroe off the bench to the scorer's table. Ayayi, 10 on the shot clock. Off the screen, over to Winston. Winston still with it with 4 seconds. Attacking, lays it up and in.
You'd like to see a little bit more of that from Cassius. Hasn't played as much today. Hasn't had the opportunity to get going the same way as the last game, but happy with that too.
Johnson, his jumper off the mark. Sword controls. Winston now with it. Winston. An offensive foul called.
Referee's feeling like Winston lowered his shoulder just a tad there. I didn't really see the extension of the arm, which is usually what they call on those offensive fouls.
I'm sorry.
There's some
That's
people.
all I can do is laugh because, whew, okay.
There's some people in disbelief, Megan. Let's just leave it there. Yeah.
Barber with it. Johnson the jumper. Monroe with the rebound. Ayayi up the floor to Sword. Great body control.
Great pass and great body control is right. Important for point guards to keep their head up. That's how you see your teammates make a pass like that.
Around the horn, they get it to Johnson down low, and he's wrapped up by Sword.
Sword electing the foul right there, but Johnson seemed a little out of control to me, and I'm not sure he would have made that shot if he just had a sort of just cleared out of his way.
Almost like an on-the-move pull the chair.
Yeah, there you go. Little bull in the china shop action.
That was always my favorite thing to do, defending people.
Yeah.
When they thought they could post me up. Just like wait for that lull in the dribble and then just pull the chair.
Yep. That was always my way of keeping the guys who had a few pounds and inches on me honest. Try to bulldoze their way in, and at some point, you got to make them remember you got to have balance.
I did that. So growing up, my AAU team has a foul called. So Winston will head to the free throw line. My AAU team used to play in Detroit a lot. We played Bill Lambier's daughter's team.
Oh, boy.
I did that. I pulled the chair on Bill Lambier's daughter a couple times.
Oh,
it felt really good.
Oh.
Because she had probably about 4 or 5 inches at the time on me, and probably about 20 pounds. And she got into that crab dribble, and when she went to in the air, just pull it.
Just pull the chair. There you go.
Johnson in the corner. And it goes out of bounds. It will.
Now, was she an agitator like her dad?
Yep. Played exactly like her big dad.
Wow. That says a lot.
Played exactly like her dad.
You know what that tells me, Megan? That tells me that you had a lot of little tricks in your game.
I did.
A lot of craftiness, a lot of little sneaky tactics.
Yep. Winston off the screen.
By the way, those are very necessary. I had a few of my own.
Hamilton. Watson. Ooh, offensive interference.
Yes.
Is going to be called.
Yes, that's going to be up. That's not even reviewable. Ball was in the cylinder.
Winston works off Monroe. Sword. Drops it off to Monroe. Kicks it. Winston. 6 on the shot clock. Monroe. Jumper doesn't go. Bogues into the game now, picked up on Barber. Johnson, long two, ends up in the hands of Monroe. Now Winston. Kicks it, Spencer. Attacking. Turned over. Johnson. Met by Sword.
Good challenge right there by Sword. He could have easily just elected to hack the bigger player, but instead he chose to make a real defensive play.
Well, I mean, based on the acrobatic athletics we just witnessed from Craig Sword,
yeah,
I can understand why he didn't just elect to foul him.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm sure nobody was more surprised than Johnson when he met him at the rim. Good defensive effort right there.
That is not giving up on the play.
No, absolutely not.
And a lane violation.
That's just not a play you expect a smaller guard to make on a big man that has a wide open charge to the lane.
Craig Sword is 6'3", Tony.
6'3".
Jalen Johnson is 6'8".
Wow. Gotta love the heart of the little guy.
Johnny Hamilton into the game, along with Tillman. Winston. They're gonna wave it off and call a foul on Sharif Cooper. But not on Winston. They actually call him for the hold on Monroe. Monroe gets the 1 for 2, 75-68 lead.
Monroe giving you some solid backup minutes behind Echenique. So really you always have a big presence on the court.
And a travel call. So the Go-Go retain possession. 2:42 to play in this third quarter. Winston works off Monroe, little hesitation. Spencer comes back to Sword. Low cross into Tillman. Count the bucket and the foul for Craig Sword.
And you see Sword going to work right there, creating some contact, getting in the lane, giving himself an opportunity for the and one.
He gets the three-point play. The lead back to 10. Lawson attacking. And they're gonna get Sword on the foul. And on that one, I don't think Greg was prepared for Craig to also join him on that challenge.
Yeah, you got a 2-for-1 on the charge right there, guys. Went down synchronized fouls, I guess, whatever you want to call it.
They're both looking at each other and laughing like you and I.
Right.
Greg got up like, oh, it was Craig.
Yeah.
Winston stops, doesn't go. Cooper attacking, in transition, lays it in.
Good little Euro step right there from Cooper. Nice finish.
Spencer gets it back to Winston. Works off Monroe. Spencer. Off Monroe. Pull up. Too strong. Hamilton with the rebound. Cooper. Barber to Lawson, attacking, drops it to Hamilton. And an offensive foul called. Hamilton.
A little too high with the elbows. Would have been better served to just go up immediately when he caught it. Try to gather himself.
Monroe attacking. It will stay with the go-go. Having an extended conversation with Tyler. On the inbound. Spencer. Bogues attacking, up, under. Too strong, loose ball controlled by Sword. And a whistle and a foul.
Go-Go doing a good job of taking the ball to the basket. They're not settling for outside shots or quick shots. We saw one quick one there in transition by Winston, but we really haven't seen much of that today. Really attacking the SkyHawks in the paint and resulting to these constant trips to the line for free throws.
Sword gets the 1 for 2. The SkyHawks failed the go-go out there. They were 1 second away from a shot clock violation when they committed the foul. Monroe gets the steal. Spencer in transition to Ayayi, and he's wrapped up.
Once again, we're seeing another example of active defense, giving the go-go an opportunity to get out and run. And another trip to the line.
Ayayi gets the 1 for 2. Barber has it blocked, but Hamilton was there for the cleanup.
Sure, is that a pass, Cat Barber?
Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, it looked like a block.
But a second and a half difference between shot and game clock. But the game clock is actually ahead of the shot clock. As Bogues gets the block. Monroe working with Ayayi, 10 on the shot clock. That bounce pass got out of his hands. Cooper in transition, misses, but Hamilton cleans it up.
Haven't seen the go-go give up a ton of baskets in transition. That's one there.
Sword to Monroe, attacking, gets his own, goes up, gets his own again, and is fouled. And the go-go, Tony, the advantage 50 to 28 points in the paint, as well to the benches, 35 to 22 advantage for the go-go.
Wow. I mean, that says a lot about your dominance in the painted area.
Monroe gets the 1 for 2.
And once again, the Big's presence has everything to do with that. Points in the paint.
Ellison. Watson. 10 on the shot clock. Watson attacking, cut off. Sword up to Spencer. Throws it down.
Spencer's showing some bounce right there with the throw down, 2 hands, making it look easy.
Showing he's more than a lacrosse player. Then he gets the steal. Sword. Spencer. Bogues with the steal. He lays it in.
Once again, we're seeing that defense right now on the perimeter by the guards for the Go-Go really have an effect on the SkyHawks. Really not able to even get into their offense at this point.
6-0 run to start the third. Ellison's three off the mark. Spencer with it. Hamilton shaken up. Spencer backing down. Rattles in and out. Ellison in transition. They're going to count the bucket. And Ellison will go to the free throw line.
And that was in the act of shooting. Ellison going away from the basket right there, still able to get that one to go down. Stop the bleeding for the SkyHawks.
Tillman returns, and Todd checks in. Todd took a seat early in that third because he had 4 fouls.
Yep. He's the only one, though, so far.
Bogues. Attacking, drops it in, and it goes out of bounds. Echenique checks in, Monroe checks out. Uregbu. Here's Cooper. Works off Tillman. Uregbu picked up by Ayayi. Attacking. High off glass, too strong. Loose ball in the air, tipping around. Ellison comes down with it. Does not get the lay-in, and Todd controls. Low bounce to Echenique. Ayayi cutting through the paint.
And that's the type of movement in the offense and the balance that I've been talking about all day long. It's not just about what they're doing on the perimeter, but when you can feed the post and get cutters, that's a great option.
And Todd picks up his 5th. Jalen Johnson, Cat Barber, return for the SkyHawks.
And so far, you look at the Go-Go's defense, have done a pretty solid job, I think, on Cat Barber, limiting his opportunities to score.
Todd disrupting the shot there by Johnson. But Barber only 9 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. To your point, Tony. Spencer the 3. Doesn't go. Todd tipping it, controlled by Tillman. Cooper. Barber. Ellison attacking. And Bogues is going to get called for the foul.
Ellison's been one of the guys that made his mind up in between the 1 3-pointer we saw him hit the first half, that he's just taking the ball to the basket.
He's got 22 points, 2 assists, 8 rebounds, does Ellison.
And when you look at the way this team's offense has really flown, I mean, I guess that's the philosophy for them, all of them, because essentially most of their offense has been drive and kick. And not kick out for threes, but drop-offs for layups.
That he and Tillman have been the recipients of a lot of drive and drops.
Yeah.
Ayayi. Echenique. Double cane, kicks it. Shackle 3, connects.
Shackle rotating over, and that shows you the importance of good space, and Shackle making himself available to Echenique right there. Echenique for that pass.
Barber probing. Johnson Tillman. Ayayi works off Echenike. Drops it to him. Backing in, gets it to go. And an and one opportunity.
And Echenike with a strong finish right there. Once again, taking advantage of that size. Guards coming down, trying to help. Just too late.
Cassius Winston returns. Bogues checks out. Echenike gets the three-point play. 96-79. The Go-Go lead it. 7:15 to play in the fourth. 10 on the shot clock, Barber. Tillman gets it to go. Barber lost his footing. He's slow to get up.
Yeah, I think he went down pretty hard on his shoulder.
Ayayi.
Still struggling to get back up.
Shackle in the corner. He's on his feet now, but still wincing.
Score some points in transition.
Coming out of the timeout, the SkyHawks picking up in a little bit of a full court press. Go able to break it. Takes a lot of time off the shot clock. Todd connects from three.
And Isaiah Todd with another three there. Go-Go just showing you all the options available to them scoring-wise in half-court sets.
Lawson. Tillman down low. Kept his patience. Todd. Taken away by Johnson. Cooper. A travel call.
Yep. Right move. Right call there because he did move his pivot foot.
Shackle. Forced out of the corner. They're going to call a bumping foul, though.
Starting to see the SkyHawks play with a little bit more sense of urgency here. Defending a little bit harder. Saw the double team right there. It would lead to a foul.
Todd. Left open after the pass fake. Doesn't go. And we'll go to the SkyHawks. Cooper. Pull-up jumper falls. SkyHawks still sticking with this three-quarter press. Shackle.
And that's what the SkyHawks want right there, is to force the Go-Go into quick, long, quick shots. We haven't seen them take a lot of those today.
The ball out of bounds off of the back of Echenike, and that's exactly, Tony, to your point. Coach Williams, as they were coming back, he was yelling patience.
Yes.
You know, there's no need. You've got the lead. No need for that quick three.
Exactly. The clock is your friend right now. You're the Capital City Go-Go.
As Cooper hits a three in the corner.
Yeah, the Go-Go have to get back to what they were doing early, which is a little more patience offensively. And defensively, they got to challenge the SkyHawks again, like they did in that first half.
Jordan Goodwin into the game, so good to see he's not bothered by whatever was hobbling him for a moment. Winston, 4 seconds. Echenike down low. A shot clock violation, but they don't call it because the SkyHawks had possession. Cooper back the other way. Coach Williams disputing the fact that there was not a foul called at the other end.
Right, referee was I could overhear the referee telling him he grabbed the ball. Coach Williams did not agree.
He did not. Neither did the entire coaching staff.
Yeah.
Cooper.
And certainly not Echenique.
Cooper at the free throw line has cut this into single digits. This feels like the closest they have been since it was a one-point game at halftime.
Yeah, and you don't see the same type of ball movement with the go-go.
Echenique down low.
That has been the formula all day long. Echenique down low.
Cooper, a deep three. Todd going high for that one. Up the floor, Goodwin.
Good decision right there to slow things down and see if they can get a good shot.
For the SkyHawks. Cooper, Lawson, Johnson, Ellison, short corner. That jumper falls.
Ellison's been one of the lone bright spots for him offensively.
Echenique fouled down low. Ellison now, to your point, Tony, with 26 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 assists. Echenique will head to the line for the 1 for 2.
And this may be important for the go-go going down the stretch here, just closing out, making sure they knock down these free throws, because you got to think at some point SkyHawks are going to start fouling just to give themselves an opportunity to get back into this.
And prior to that, the go-go were 9 of 10 from the free throw line.
Free throws can be big going down the stretch.
Cooper attacking, has it blocked from Echenique with a little assistance from the rim, and Echenique, it went out of bounds, and the go-go didn't like it. Jaime's like, no, it hit me off the face.
Yeah, it hit off my face, in the face.
Johnson lost the handle. Loose ball picked up by Cooper, blocked by both Echenique and Todd. A tough pass in transition, a turnover. Lawson, Johnson, he connects from 3.
Seen Johnson knock down a couple from deep.
That is a 5-point swing for the SkyHawks off the turnover that led into the 3.
Like to see the go-go get a quality look right here.
Winston working off Echenique. Attacking, keeps control. Echenique with the follow.
Again, we talk about limiting the SkyHawks' second chance opportunities. The go-go themselves have really taken advantage, with Echenique creating several opportunities off those offensive rebounds.
Delay of game called on the go-go. Cooper. Lawson. Off the miss. Winston with the rebound. Surveying. The lob for Todd.
And we know about the athleticism of Isaiah Todd on full display right there.
Lead back to 10. Under 2 minutes. In the 4th, Johnson attacks up under, lays it in.
Johnson showing you it's just not all 3-point shots.
Johnson off the steal. Ayayi. Winston works off Echenique. 4 seconds. Lost his footing, turns it over. Johnson with the flush.
And that's what you don't want to see when you talk about ball movement. Don't want to go one-on-one right now. You don't have to.
Ayayi left alone down low, lays it in the fourth. That three does not fall for Jalen Johnson. Echenike recognizes he's got to get it over half, and does. Ayayi left alone again.
Once again, Ayayi, he just disappears and reappears underneath the basket on you.
And somehow left wide open.
Yeah.
Tillman flips that up and in.
It's like they forget he's out there or something sometimes. We call that stealthy, Megan.
Winston cut off by Johnson. He's bumped, and Johnson helps him up. Jalen Johnson's fifth. Now, even though 8-point game right now, this will be 2 free throws since we're under 2 minutes in the fourth. But you look at the scoring for College Park, they've got 3 players with 20 points or more.
But they don't have the overall team balance that you've seen across the board. I mean, you look.
After the inbound, Johnson with the baseline drop.
And that showcase is an opportunity for some of these guys to really get noticed by some other general managers around the league, and you never know what that can lead to.
Because if I've got the date correct, January 5th, if I'm not mistaken, is the first day that 10-day contracts can become available for players. So it times up right with the end of the G League Winter Showcase. You'll have all the G League teams there, and more than likely all 30 NBA teams will be represented in some capacity. And then you even have scouts coming from overseas.
Oh, yeah.
To potentially look at players.
Yeah, this is the best of what's available outside of the NBA in Europe right now.
Winston at the free throw line extends it back to a 10-point lead. Coach Williams reminding them no fouls. Cooper up and under. And the Go-Go just trying to get it over half. A turnover taken away by Lawson as he throws down the one-handed hammer. 4.1. And Ayayi will